journaling is something that everyone can do as long as you are willing to try to draw things and write down observations you see. So first, why did I start doing nature journaling? Well, I think it's fun because for me, going out in nature, it's really exciting for me. I get to see different things. There's every time, even if I go to the same place for a walk around my neighborhood, I'm seeing something new or something growing. I love to look at rocks and look at different kinds of rocks. I love to hear and watch the water flowing by in a stream. So for me, it's really fun. It also helps me to stop and pay attention. Sometimes we're just walking by and running by or biking by, but other times when I'm doing nature journaling, I have to stop and really slow down and look at something. And you also have to be creative and think critically. So that's what nature journaling is all about, having fun, connecting with nature, and trying to be more curious. So when did I start nature journaling? Well, I think we didn't call it nature journaling, but this is my first ever diary. You could see I really loved pink back then. And in my diary, I would write down some observations. So there's like all these different things. I even started by drawing my house when I was growing up. And you'll notice that I think this was when I was 8 years old. My family took a trip to a lake. And so on the way, I saw this really cool bird. And so I tried to draw it, and I even wrote 3.5 feet. So this bird must have been really big. And then I even drew a picture of a field here and a weird, I think that's a cow or a dog. I saw something there, and I even wrote my name, and this was in 1991. So here I wrote the date. And so I wrote some notes about where I was going. So this was my first ever journal. Well, of course, I keep journaling and I like writing things, but about 10 years ago, or more than 10 years ago, I took a trip to Utah. And it's one of my favorite places to go because there's a lot of really cool rocks there. And so I noticed that in Utah, there were a lot of different kinds of rocks that I don't see here. So in this journal, I started to do, it was no lines, and I was drawing pictures of the rocks I saw, and then I wrote down some notes. And then I also saw some plants there. So I was drawing some of the plants that I saw there, and I was drawing the different kind of trees and the leaves. So that's about 10 years ago. Now I want to try to be even better at nature journaling. So I got myself a journal like this. And last week, this was my last journal entry, I went to the Stevens Creek Trail right in Cupertino, and I saw these weird worm-looking things on the ground. At first, I thought they were worms, but there were so many, and they were green. And when I looked even closer, I noticed I think they're part of a flower and maybe part of a seed. And I looked at other plants around it, and I noticed, wow, just like Melissa said, some of the trees are starting to have flowers and leaves coming up. So I was drawing the flower or the leaf. I thought it was a flower at first, but I looked next to it and there were others that were coming out, bursting out, that were actually leaves. I also love looking for birds, and so I wrote down the names of birds that I saw near the tree. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to nature journal. So what I would like you to have is your piece of paper, and let's start with our leaves. So hopefully you can see my screen. Okay, can everyone see my paper in my hand? Ooh, thanks for the thumbs up. Okay, on your paper, can you put your first leaf so you can see it next to you? So put that leaf on that paper. And if you're sharing a leaf, you can put it right next in between the two of you or three of you. So if you're sharing a leaf, that's okay too. Now, the 4 steps of nature journaling, I like to call them the ABCs. So the first step is that they have to be, accurate. So A stands for accurate. So when I look at a tree, let me share, I don't know, something's going on. When you look at a tree, or when you think about a tree, you often think, I think they could be like a pointy thing with a brown stem. Well, that's not really accurate. So here you'll see an accurate picture would be more details of looking at shapes and what do you notice about the leaves and what shape are the leaves. So a nature journal, you don't want to just draw from what you think you know about a tree or a leaf. You're going to actually look at it. So for A, accurate. B means big. Even if the thing you're drawing is really little, if it's a little bug, an insect, or a little flower, you're gonna still want to draw it pretty big. C means it's colorful. If you can, use colors. And if you don't have color crayons or pencils, then you can label with the colors. So I'll show you today. If you don't have color pencils with you, because a lot of times I don't have all my supplies with me when I'm going out for a walk, you can still add color to your drawing even without color pencils. D stands for detailed. You want to add details, not just in the drawing, but in the lines too, and in the words. And the last one is E. You're going to explain what you see. So let's start with our accurate, big, colorful, detailed, explain drawing. First, let's start by writing the date. So today is February 10th, 2021. So we want to be like scientists. We want to write down what day did we actually see the thing that we're going to draw. And it might be nice to write the time, because sometimes I notice some birds are out in the morning, but not in the afternoon. Or if you're in the afternoon, maybe you wouldn't see it in the morning. So right now it's about 2:15 p.m. So let's start with the date and time. Try to do that every time you're nature journaling. Okay, the first step to drawing a leaf is to, if you have a leaf, you can put little dots on where the leaf shape could be. So kind of outline it with little dots all the way around your leaf if you can. If you can't, if you can share, if you're sharing a leaf, you can share, pass it, so take turns, okay? So start with dot outline of your leaf. So this is one way you can draw what you see. So if you can pick it up and you can put it on your notebook, we'll start with the dot outline. Okay, and I know some of you are still sharing leaves or working on it together. Then try to draw the shape of the leaf by following the dots. And you don't want one big line. You want to do lots of little lines to show detail. So just kind of go, oops, all the way around. So here's the left side of the leaf. And maybe your leaf is a little funny like mine. It keeps flipping over because it's not flat. That's part of nature. Nature is not always flat, is it? Okay, then I'm going to try to draw the other part of my leaf. And I noticed right here that there's some little tiny zigzags on the edge of my leaf. So I'm going to add little zigzags to show that's what my leaf looks like on the outside. So draw slowly and draw lots of little lines to show the details. An important part of a leaf is the stem. And you'll notice that the stem is what connects it to the branch. And so if your leaf has a stem, look at the way the line is going. So usually it goes from the top of the leaf or the tip of the leaf down to the bottom. So try to draw the stem of your leaf. And yours might look a little different than mine. There's different kinds of leaves, but most leaves have some kind of stem. How's it going so far? Is your leaf having a leaf shape now? Does it look more like a leaf? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine doesn't look anything like a leaf.
That's okay.
Mila.
We'll keep practicing. Maybe when we add some details. So look carefully. Are there other things on your leaf that you notice? Does your leaf have little lines or spots like mine? So let's try our best to figure out where the lines and spots are and put that onto your leaf as well. They almost look like rivers on mine. They curve around. And I have some spots on mine.
Now mine isn't looking like a leaf anymore.
No? Does it have a shape that looks like a leaf?
Yes.
Something that I notice is that the colors might help me to describe this leaf better. So if I don't have color pencils or watercolors or markers, I can use labels. So I notice that this side of the leaf is more yellow. So I'm going to draw a little arrow to where I want to show where that yellower color is. So yellow, orange color. So I can write a little note to myself. Oh, this side has more yellow-orange color. So maybe you can draw a label. What color do you see? Do you see any brown spots? Do you see any yellow spots?
Our leaf is brown with green spots. The other side's kind of different color.
Oh, that's fascinating. If you want to flip over your leaf and also draw the other side and show how different it is on the other side, that would be cool too.
My leaf doesn't, I can't really draw the design, so I just drew a different design that could be on a leaf that I saw in my backyard, a different leaf.
Okay, try your best to look at the leaf you have on your paper and try to copy it the best you can.
And Mila, why did you pick that leaf?
And some of the leaves might not have lines or spots because each leaf is unique. Wow. Did you already color yours? Is it Marissa or Mallory? Okay, I think that's a clue. Maybe we can start using our color pencils to add color to our leaf, if you have color pencils.
I'm the Marissa.
Oh, you're Marissa.
He's Mallory.
Nice to meet you. Okay. So I like color pencils because I can blend colors and mix colors a little bit. I think the set I have is the Crayola set with 24 colors. I know that when I go to the store, there's sets with a lot more colors. So, wow.
I have color pencils. I have 72.
That's amazing. You can add so much color to it. You're gonna need 72 pencil sharpeners.
My coloring thing Look, my drawing looks much darker than my actual leaf.
That's okay. Sometimes you don't have the exact right color pencils. That's why it's important to use descriptions. For example, I look at this orange part and it kind of looks kind of more like a sunset to me. So I can write down looks like a sunset. Maybe yours looks like a chocolate brownie. Maybe yours looks like pudding. Maybe yours looks like mud. Or does it look like grass that's growing in the spring? So you can write a little note about what color does it look like if you don't have the exact correct color pencils for them. Wow, look at those spots on those leaves. Did you do both leaves already? Okay, let's write some comments or notes or observations. What do you notice about your leaf? So some of you are still adding color. That's fine. Some of you, maybe you're ready to add some notes because when we're nature journaling, we want to observe and not just with the colors, but with other things. For example, I noticed when I feel it that the sides are rough. So maybe I can write rough sides. How does your leaf feel? Is it smooth? Is it bumpy? I'm going to touch my leaf. You can't always do that with things you find in nature. You don't want to touch everything that you see out there. So hopefully you're being safe when you do that. So I'm going to say smooth. It also feels like plastic. Mine feels like plastic.
Plastic?
Yeah, it even shines a little bit.
That's one weird feeling for a leaf.
A little weird.
Plastic. Weird.
A little shiny when the sun hits it. So add some details. What do you notice? Is it light or is it heavy? I like how, sorry.
My first leaf is much lighter than my second one.
Oh, that's great. That's a great comment. You could write that down. Lighter. I like how Sumita is throwing her leaf and watching it fall. How does your leaf fall? That's a great observation too. Does it fall straight down or does it go side to side? Does it twist and turn when it's falling? When I color with color pencils, I try to color lightly and I'll add more color to it afterwards. So start out light and then you can go darker by pressing more on your pencil too. So start out light and then you can always add more color later. I'm going to start drawing my second leaf. My second leaf looks nothing like my first leaf. I found this one under some redwood trees. So I wonder if this is a redwood from a redwood tree. I think it's more than one leaf. It has lots of little leaves put together. So if you have a leaf like this, you're going to have to draw each of those little leaves. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put a little dot at where I think the leaves should go. Hopefully I'm not going to break this. And then I'm going to start by drawing the stem. Then we'll add some details. What kind of observations did you make for your leaves? Anyone want to unmute themselves and give me an observation?
Much brighter yellow than my first one.
Great. Thanks for raising your hand. I see, is it Aryan and Kenan? Arjun? Is it Arjun? Aryan? What kind of observations did you make?
Bumpy light edges are up and down, and it falls straight down.
Excellent. Those are great descriptions. Oh, I see some leaves falling on, observing the leaf falling. Is it Canon? Kanan? Kanan?
It's Johnny.
Oh, okay. Did you want to share your observation? Uh-oh, you're on mute again.
I said that one of my leaves had a very bumpy thing. It's very wobbly.
Wow. That's excellent.
And it was pretty light. I made a small scale, and it was definitely not 100, more to 0.
Great. Okay, one technique that nature journalists do is they zoom in to one part that's really interesting. So I want you to pretend like you have a magnifying glass and you want to zoom into something that you see. So for me, I think I want to zoom in to that top part of this leaf. It has something kind of spiky there. So I'm going to draw a little arrow and then a circle to show that I'm going to zoom in right there. So can you pick something that you want to zoom into? Maybe it's the top of the leaf. Maybe it's the side of the leaf. I love that she was showing the waviness of the leaf. Maybe you want to zoom into that wavy part of the leaf. So you're going to draw a little circle, like you're putting a magnifying glass there.
I kind of have a magnifying glass.
Oh, you do? Okay, use it to zoom in with your eyes. Okay, and then you have to look very closely. And you're going to draw that one part nice and big inside that circle. Mine kind of looks like that, kind of weird, spiky thing. They look almost like mini pine cones. So draw a part of your leaf that you're zooming into.
For mine, the edges are green, but in the middle, it's all yellow.
Wow, those are great details you can add. While you're drawing, let's think about leaves. Why do trees have leaves? Are they just for decoration? Ooh, thanks for raising your hand. Is that Marissa or Mallory? What? Marissa?
Trees have leaves to collect water and oxygen.
Ooh, collect water and oxygen? So they're kind of like mouths?
Sort of.
Sort of. Okay, thanks for your sharing. I saw, is it Chloe?
Leaves help it takes in the bad oxygen and makes it good.
Ah, so it takes something in, but also lets something out? Okay, great. Thanks for sharing. Is it Sumire? What do leaves do?
They collect sunlight.
They collect sunlight. What do they do with it? Sunbath? A rainbow. They make rainbows.
Grow.
They grow. Yeah, you're right. The leaves need the sunlight. For us, we need food, but for leaves and plants, they need sunlight. Sunlight is their food. Isn't that really cool? I wish I could, when I'm hungry, I wish I could just open up my mouth and let the sun come in. But we're not leaves. We're not green and we're not red and yellow like leaves are. That would be pretty awesome though, if I could just lay out in the sun because I'm hungry. Ooh, Sophia, your leaf is very colorful. What colors do you see on that?
Well, it's kind of purpley at the bottom and lighter at the top, which is, my mom told me is called ombre.
Ooh, write that down. Ombre, O-M-B-R-E. That's a great description. When something goes from lighter to darker color. Okay, well, if the plant needs these leaves for food, they also need water. So you're right. Most of the water, though, doesn't come from the leaves. The water comes from what part of the plant in the ground? Like big straws. Where are they getting it from? Emma, thanks for raising your hand.
The roots.
The roots. So water comes from the roots. The food comes from the sunlight. These trees have everything they need with their leaves and their roots. So what you're drawing right now are really important parts of a plant. If a plant didn't have leaves, it would have to get all their food from their roots. And there are definitely plants that get food from their roots because they go onto other plants and kind of steal their food, kind of like thieves. So when you go out in nature, I think one thing that you will probably enjoy doing is looking at leaves and at plants and flowers. I like to look at plants also because they don't have feet or wings. A lot of times things in nature don't stay there. My favorite things to look for right now are birds, and we call it birding. And so when I go out to a park or in my backyard or in the apartment complex, I notice there's so many different birds, but they just fly away so quickly. So if you're starting out with nature journaling, like when I was starting out, it is a great idea to start out with plants because they don't move as much. Okay, how are your leaf drawings coming up? Your leaf pages? Would you like to hold them up for us to see? Oh, nice. Wow. Wow, look at all those observations. That's great. Oh, neat. Wow, great comparisons. Oh, I love the zoom in pictures. Great details. Nice. Wow. You're scientists and artists and writers all in one. Okay. Great. Are we ready to try something else that's not a leaf? Is that okay if we try something else? Okay. You can continue working on this if you want to. So if you want to keep working on your leaf page, that's okay. You can take out another piece of paper or turn your paper over if you want to just use the same one. And we're going to take a look at an animal that I see all the time at my apartment. When I go out the door, I see this animal. It's actually a bird because in my apartment, there's a little pond and it says no swimming, but I don't think these birds know how to read because they're always swimming there. It is you know what it is?
Duck.
Ducky.
A duck. And what kind of ducks are these?
Regular duck?
A mallard.
A mallard. You're right, a mallard duck. So right in my apartment, when I step outside my door in the morning, there's always this male mallard. And recently, because I think it's becoming more spring, I see other mallards there too. And I know it's a male mallard because it has the green head. The female mallards are just brown. So in nature, a lot of times the female and the male animal look slightly different. Do you know any other animals where the female and male don't look the same?
Swans. Swans.
Lions?
Peacocks.
Hummingbirds.
Peacocks.
Hummingbirds.
Ducks.
Ants, I think.
Ants, definitely. Oh, Lansing, do you know one?
Peacocks.
Oh. And you can also put it in the chat too. If it's, sometimes microphones aren't working or I can't hear you from your internet connection. I heard peacocks, definitely. So to draw animals, the first step for me is to look at the shape. And since we're using pencils, we're going to sketch out the shapes that we see. So for the first shape I see this head. It has like a round shape. So I'm going to start with a kind of a round shape like that. So can you start with a head? Just like that. Okay. The next shape I see is this body, which is, for me, part of it's underwater, but other parts, it looks like it kind of is like a loaf of bread or a lump or some kind of oval. So I'm going to make this oval to be its body. Can you do that? And I left a little bit of space because I know the neck is connecting.
Copy that or just going to write it out?
We're starting first by drawing the shapes. So definitely you can try it yourself, but I wanted to show you how you can make shapes for animals when we're drawing animals in nature. Okay, then I notice that it's connected like here in a curve. So I'm going to start at this circle and I'm going to connect it to the rectangle with a little bit of a curve. And you'll notice that I'm taking my pencil and going over it. I'm not just doing one straight line. I'm kind of sketching it out. And then the back curve of its head goes that way. So sketch out the back curve of its head.
My grandpa and grandma in Taiwan, they actually have like this painting club.
Oh.
And my grandpa and grandma, they're more of a sketcher than kind of like a comic drawer, like using.
Definitely, and you can add more details later, so that's why we're starting with the shape. Now I notice a big feature of ducks are their bills. So their duck beaks, it looks like it starts from the head, but then it goes out and a slope. So kind of a curve down, and then the bottom looks more flat. Like I could pick up his beak and put my pencil straight. And it looks like it's a little more of a straight shape there. And if you look carefully, it looks like a little bit like he's smiling. So I'm going to do a little bit of a curve there to show that his mouth will open right there. How's your duck, your mallard coming? Okay. What other features do I notice on the head? What else do I notice on
His eye.
His eye. And I can show that. And then he has a little bit of like a cheek part coming up. And I'm going to write, he has a black eyes. Because what color green would you call this? If I was going to compare this, if I said, what color of this green, what green color does this remind you of? What would you say?
It looks like a plastic type green because it looks like his head is really smooth.
Smooth.
Looks like a dark green to me.
A dark green. I think Samira is showing her leaf. So green like a leaf, a dark green, a little bit shiny.
Metallic, iridescent green, maybe.
Ooh, looks like a great. So I'll say head is maybe shiny. Oh, that's not an S. Oh, dark green, like a leaf. How about his beak or his bill? What color would we describe that?
I think maybe a yellowish orange. And on its beak, there's like a tiny hole.
Oh, we're noticing lots of things. It's a little hole. It must be their nose.
The nose.
Okay, so we notice we should draw a little hole for the nose. And then he has a yellow beak. I want to say like a banana color. Like a banana. Oh, there's my notebook. So when you're recording some colors, it's good to compare it to something else that you know. Okay, and then from its neck, I noticed that he has a change in color. So we should describe that change in color around the neck. I think I need to make the neck a little bit fatter. And it seems like it's right here. He has white. So I'm going to draw an arrow and say white neck. And it's like a band around it, a ring or band. And I think I have a question about this. Why is it so shiny? I'm going to write that question. Why is it so shiny?
Maybe it's to attract females because people have their tails.
A duck has special oil coated on its feathers so it can stay afloat in the water.
And doesn't get wet.
Wow. Those are lots of facts. Okay, well, maybe I could write that down. Why is it so shiny? Maybe to attract a mate? Special oils? I wonder if I touch the mallard, which I shouldn't touch a mallard. I wonder what it will feel like. Okay. I should color in that eye. And it looks like he has dark parts of the eye around it too. So not just the eye, but maybe some of the feathers around his eyes look a little dark. And then on the neck, it looks like it's darker right here. So I'm going to add a little bit of shading. So use your pencil to shade it. And then I notice his chest part at the base of his neck, that's brown. So let's make that darker. Adding that brown. And if you have color pencils, you can add color too. But I'm going to just draw a line and say dark brown chest. Okay, well, the front of my duck is looking more realistic, but the back of my duck is still kind of empty. What do you notice about its back or the tail?
I couldn't draw the tail so good. It looks like 3D.
Wow. So definitely focus on the feathers that are closest. So I see this line right here, the feather that's sticking up, that's closer to us. Let's draw that in. So go up and then make it kind of go down. And then here I notice And I often use my pencil to see. I think it's almost like a straight line here where the darker brown meets the lighter brown.
Plus, it looks like a trapezoid if you think about it.
Oh yeah, or a parallelogram, because this part is pointy and that part is pointy. And I remember, was it Sophia said the word ombre? I think that could describe that dark brown to light brown there too. So let's see, ombre, brown, lighter on top. So I'm going to use my pencil to make it look darker on the bottom and then lighter on the top. So I can use the side of my pencil to shade it in to make it look more dark on the bottom. I also noticed on its back, there's a little spot right here where it's black or darker. So I need to make that little part on its back darker. If you're actually at a park and looking at these mallards, you might describe some of its behaviors. Maybe it was swimming in circles, or maybe it was swimming and then it came up on land and started eating. Maybe there were 3 of them. You can write some numbers. You can also share how big it is. Like if you can imagine like, oh, it's about the size of a soccer ball, or it's about the size of my hand. You can also write size. So right now we can't see the size, but if you were out in nature, you might be able to describe it, how big it is, how little it is. Okay, this part looks a little more complicated with the tail. I see this white or lighter part that's going down like that. And then this black part. You just have to color darker. Is it looking more realistic now, your mallard?
This is mine.
Wow, nice.
I think my neck is too long.
What do you notice about its body on the water?
It's
Can you see it's floating? Can you see its feet?
No.
No, so I'm gonna write floating.
I don't even know there is feet on a duck.
Can't see feet. So I might need to draw where the water is, like right here, to show how much he's floating. I notice when I see some birds, it's everything but their neck is under the water. But for a mallard, it looks like they're just floating right on top. I wonder what makes them float. Maybe I'll write that. I wonder.
Maybe it's because of all their feathers.
Oh, their feathers. I wonder if they have a lot of air inside. Like a rubber duck. If I squeeze it, is it mostly air?
What? That'd be weird.
Well, I have questions, and they're good to write them down.
Mallard.
Because I want to know how it can stay afloat. When I get in the pool, I just sink. I am not a very good swimmer. How about you?
We take swimming.
Yep.
We took
Good swim.
I'm going to
You're-
be on a
you
swim team
probably-
soon.
I'm okay
The
at
Saratoga
swimming.
swim team.
Oh, you're okay at swimming?
I'm gonna
Chloe's
be
good
on
at
the
swimming
Saratoga
too.
swim team this year.
I'm good at swimming. I love swimming. Me too. Except there's no swimming pools near my house.
Well, hopefully some pools will open up, and by the time it's summer, hopefully you can pretend to be a mallard also. Try to float on the water.
Yeah, but
Okay, you can add some color if you would like. You can add a little more questions if you know.
isn't the vaccine created?
Can you say that again?
Isn't the vaccine created?
A vaccine helps protect people from a virus. It doesn't actually cure the virus. So yes, I think the vaccine is good because it will protect a lot of us when we're allowed to get it. It gives us a lot of hope that hopefully our schools can open soon.
Some schools have already opened.
Yes, and so there's some kids at school too. Okay, how are your mallards coming? Let's see some of them. Ooh, wow. Look at those great notebooks and trees.
I did a lion instead.
A lion. Oh, that's not a mallard. Wow. Great. Look at those colors that you added. It makes it more realistic. So my challenge for you is, and maybe you can't do it today, but sometime this week, I want you to step outside, maybe your backyard or just outside your door when your parents let you. And I want you to find something out there in nature. Maybe it's a plant, maybe it's an insect, maybe it's an animal, a rock, maybe some dirt, or the trees. I want you to add a page to your journal. Think of something that you can look at and go and explore and take the time to draw it out. Okay, so sometimes you just want to be outside and run around and enjoy being out there, but other times it's a good idea to slow down, stop, and take a look to observe. So today, I hope that you learned a little bit more about nature journaling. I hope you will want to continue keeping a journal and find something that you like, just like I found that I love birds. Find some kind of nature element that you really are curious about and want to know more about. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to hand it over to Miwa. She has a little.
Thank you, everybody. Did you all have fun?
Yep.
You can all unmute yourself right now for a second. And
Yes.
say thank you to Miss Fujikawa.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
So I have a question. If you don't mind showing me your pictures into the screen, I'm going to take a picture. Is that good? Ready?
Which drawing do you want us to show, our mallard?
Whichever you feel comfortable showing. Ready? Okay, smile behind your picture. Looking good. Yay. They're all awesome. What do you think? Do you want to grade yourself? Did you have a good time? Okay, so I want you to do me a favor. Just so you know, we did record this for the MEF program. It's a fundraiser we're doing for the MEF that's supporting all you guys and the teachers in the Moreland district. And then tell your parents that it's gonna be on video if you wanna look at it from the beginning to go over the steps that Ms. Fujikawa mentioned to you, or you can just check it out to see other kids and how they're doing, okay? Sounds good? Okay, y'all have a great day. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining me.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.